It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha. Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brouhaha. Marshall Wood and Dale McKee getting down to it once again. Big weekend for sports, Dale. Lots going on out there in this old world.
Oh yeah. We had some great games in Mississippi this weekend. I promise you. Yeah. Ole Miss pulled a stunner. Mississippi State almost did.
They liked it, didn't they?
And Southern Miss is letting folks know they back.
They back. They really are. I'm real excited about it. I'll tell you what, I was expecting great things out of Ole Miss. I'm surprised at State and the level of play they've brought to the table. Very excited about that. And then, we were all really hopeful, at Southern, and it looks like it's paid off. The man's making his mark already.
He is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I found a little going to flop over to the high school side a little bit. I thought this was kind of interesting. There's a school in Mobile, Alabama called Williamson.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of them?
Well, I know Wayne County's played them a couple of times.
Yeah. Listen to what Williamson has done this year. In the first game, Williamson beat Wayne County 42-0. In the second game, Williamson beat Alberta, Alabama 60-49. That's the second game. In the third game, Williamson beat Citronelle 57-5. In the in the next game, they beat Rain 48-0. This past Friday night, Williamson played Murphy High School in Mobile, Alabama, and the final score was 100-0. Nobody has played Williamson as tough as Wayne County did. 100-0.
Oh my goodness.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, but I would. That seems like it'd be a long, miserable night.
They didn't run the clock. No. They didn't run the clock. I've heard two sides of that story. One says Williamson coach went over and said, "Wants to run the clock," and the guy said no. But, both of them got to agree, don't they?
Yeah.
I think it'd be more likely that the Williamson guy would say, "No, we don't want to." What would you, Dale? Would you sweep the leg?
No, I would have said, let's just call this thing, But you can't. I don't know.
What's the biggest defeat you've ever seen in a football game at any level that you know of? Have you ever heard of 100-0 before?
No, I know Wayne County got like 70 points one night against Florence.
Florence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was 70-something. I remember that.
Yeah.
No, that's most I've seen scored in a high school game.
Man, that's
a lot of points.
Yeah. On the high school level, I don't know if we talked about this last week. Heidelberg had a big week last week.
They did.
They went off up to, and we've had their coach on the show here. Mm-hmm. And they went off up to Chattanooga to play a team called McCall that was ranked nationally. Mm-hmm. Took them to the wire.
They scored. Heidelberg scored with about 5 minutes to go, but never got the ball back.
Yeah.
But their issue was they missed all 3 2-point conversions because they don't have a kicker. But they outgained McCauley on offense by 20 or 30 yards. Yeah. And I think the quarterback, the little Kraft kid from Heidelberg, threw for over 200.
Lit him up.
So they didn't shy away from him.
No. Man, I was proud of them. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming. I've played that bunch up there before. They must not be the same that they used to be. I'm going to find out this week, though, because I'm going back up there to watch them again.
Okay.
What else you got going on in the world of sports, Dale?
Well, we got a great speaker tonight, Harry Harrison. And Harry is the radio analysis guy for Ole Miss football.
Okay. He ought to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. He's talking about mostly Saturday probably and maybe the future down the road there.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get to that. Let's take a break to hear from our sponsor, and then I'll be back with tonight's guest, Harry Harrison, right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Harry Harrison. Harry, glad to have you on again. Thank you for being with us today. I know you've had a really busy but very happy weekend. And won't you tell us a little bit about it? What did everybody knows that you're the Ole Miss on the Ole Miss radio? So just tell us about your thoughts about the game Saturday.
Well, Dale, first of all, it's an honor to be on the show with you, and you go back to my days of playing and writing about it, so I've always been indebted to you for whatever you need me to do. But, Saturday, I haven't wiped a smile off my face yet, as you know, going back to 1972. When we got upended by LSU on the 4-second clock in Baton Rouge, I've had issues for LSU for 50-something years, and anytime we could beat them, I don't care if it's checkers or football, I always want to beat them. And, LSU obviously scored the first 7 points, and the Rebels ran off 17 unanswered and really became the dominant team at that point. Defense, which, by the way, we lost 4 NFL players last year off that front line of defense, but we replaced them with really good, talented Mississippi kids up front. The only difference is they're all young. They're sophomores and juniors and hadn't played a lot of snaps, but they're getting better every week. So they kind of dominated that game afterwards. We got to the point where we only had to rush 3 and drop 8. Their quarterback's not very mobile, Nussmeier. Shut their run game down. I think they had less than 60 yards rushing in the game. Ooh. 54, I think, to be exact. Anyway, anytime you go LSU to 54 yards rushing, you're going to make them one-dimensional, and that was one of my keys going into the game, is to make them one-dimensional, make them beat you having to throw it down the field, and just pin your ears back and go get the quarterback, and that's kind of what they did, A lot of penalties in the game. We got flagged for 12 penalties and for 109 yards, and we had 2 turnovers, one being fumbled into the end zone by Caden Lee, which is, just unfortunate. Got hit, and came in after the initial tackle, hit right on the ball that popped out. So this game could have been worse than the final score was. But, obviously we took a seat down there with a little over a minute to go when we made it on 4th and I think 1 or 2 or 3, whatever it was, and hit the tight end, Wright, number 8, who's had a terrific season so far and terrific day Saturday. But it's always good to take a knee and get in that victory formation and make LSU have to like it.
Well, listen, I'm sitting there when I think it was a 4th and 3 before they threw the pass to Wright for the first down there to kind of end the game. I had mixed emotions. I mean, that's a long field goal. And so, they still had to go down and score a touchdown. But you have to hand it to Kiffin. I mean, that was a smooth, great call there, really. And it was executed to perfection. You just get more impressed with Chambliss every play almost.
Well, what a find he's been, of course. But, tip your hat to Lane Kiffin. He doesn't play it by the same rules the old coaches from the past play by. And some of them are still trying to play that game and not getting very far with it. But Kiffin's a risk taker, obviously, very involved in analytics. And we definitely were in our kicker, Canero's range. He's got a really strong leg. He's only missed 1 on the year, which would have put us up 8, Dale. But then there would have been a frantic ending for LSU trying to get down and score and having to go for 2. So the scheme on that pass play, they had a wide receiver that way, ran crossing routes back towards the Ole Miss sideline, and really took the entire secondary. I'm assuming a linebacker was supposed to pick up that H-back right, but did not. He kind of delayed and went out in the left flat towards the LSU sideline and was absolutely wide open. He could have scored. We could have tacked on another touchdown right there. But he did the smart thing. He took, he got down there and just hit the ground, sat down with it, knowing that they'd already burned their last time out. And it was a minute 41, I think, or less at that point, knowing we're going to run the clock out. All we got to do is take a knee. So very smart on his part. And like I say, anytime you can take a knee in victory formation against LSU, it's a fun day.
Oh, yeah. No, most definitely. Well, just tell us your thoughts on the little kid from the Division II school, though. Overall, have you been surprised?
I think everybody's been pleasantly surprised. Saw him in camp back in in August in fall camp, and my concern was, okay, they got him listed 6 foot. He's probably 5'11". Can he stand in the pocket and not get the ball batted down? And coincidentally, that did happen earlier in the game. We had Wright open in the end zone. He tried to force it in there to him, and a big 6'6", I think it's number 6, Peyton, a defensive end for LSU, batted the ball down. That was one of my concerns. I think he had a couple of those in the game, but nothing that it absolutely killed us. We wound up kicking a field goal in that particular drive. But he gives us such a dimension of being able to run the ball. And, Dale, if you've watched the game, he looks so confident and calm in the pocket. You can tell a guy who's 23 years old and had all these snaps under his belt versus, our other quarterback, Austin Simmons, who came out of high school after his 10th grade year and has only started 2 college football games. He's still pressing. He needs snaps under his belt. He's going to get more when he gets well. We know that. But what a find. I think Charlie Weiss saw some highlights of Trinidad Chambliss on Facebook, of all things. I don't do social media, but they're all over that. And he saw him and said, we need to contact this guy. And that's how they found him. Wow. And I don't think anybody came out of high school, had no Division I offers, went to Ferris State, won a couple national championships. And it was pretty funny prior to the game, Dale. David Kellum was talking about the year prior, the same date, the year prior, Ferris State was playing American University in front of 200 people at the stadium. A little bit different scenario this past Saturday, but he didn't look like he was the scenario was not too big for him. He was comfortable. Just looked like he's having a great time throwing the ball and running the ball. And, defense for LSU was their strong suit. Didn't give us a lot, but we took what they did and, wound up 485 total yards in the game between running and throwing. And the guy we were missing last year is Kawan Lacey. Had he been on that team last year, our run game really suffered last year. That was last year. We're in this year, and Kawan Lacey's been a really big find. Portal guy who we recruited out of high school out in Texas, and he went to Missouri and stayed one semester, was back at Oxford in January, went through spring practice, but he's been a real star as far as running the ball. And then we've reloaded in the wide receiver room. But the best thing that's happened is we had 2 starting tackles back. They both played every snap and not been hurt. And then we loaded up with new guys inside, 2 guards and a new center who's actually been on our team for 3 years, and he's playing well. So all of a sudden this offensive line is really gelling at the right time. And I told anybody that would listen preseason, the way we come out of September is really how our season's going to run. Hoping to be undefeated, never know when you're playing LSU, but hoping to be undefeated, and that way you can start playing with a little house money, take a week off, and then here we go run again.
Okay, as you reflect for the future, everybody's already talking about, of course, they have an open date this week, and then they have a game against Washington State. But Oklahoma, going to Georgia and Oklahoma, I'm just going by, what I've kind of seen myself, but everybody says those are going to be the most 2 difficult games down the stretch. And after that, after we play those 2, the games are would probably be favored in most of those. But, I saw Auburn go to Oklahoma, and Oklahoma, barely beat just a so-so Auburn team. So I thought that was a little hope. But what I got interested in Sunday was the Associated Press football polls. These teams, we switched with LSU, and I think I started looking. They got A&M 6th, and they had, of course, Ole Miss 4th, but they had A&M 6th, and they had, I think, another, maybe Texas.
There's 5 SEC teams.
Yeah, Texas was 9th, and of course, I didn't see Georgia was 11th. They didn't even make it.
Georgia went to 12 or 13, and Alabama's in the top 10. And, if you look at the entire top 25, Dale, there's 11 SEC teams in it, okay?
Yeah.
But that tell you it's a pretty tough league. 11 out of 25 all reside in the SEC.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm sure we'll be the underdog going to Georgia and to Oklahoma. But they lost their quarterback, broke his hand, supposed to be out for a month or so. So we'll see how quickly he responds. But you don't know, man. You just don't know. I mean, nobody thought Alabama was going to roll in there and beat Georgia, but they seem to have Georgia's number, and so we're going to play it one game at a time. The funny part about Washington State, most fans don't probably, if they knew this, they've forgotten it. It's supposed to be a return trip with Wake Forest. So we go up there last year and beat them 40-3, and the coach a week later says, "We're not coming back and play y'all. We're going to send you a check for $1 million. We're going to get out of that contract," which they've done. And fortunately, Washington State was, they were one of the Pac-12 teams that didn't get invited to go anywhere. So they're begging for opponents. So it wasn't hard to schedule them, bring them in here and give us 8 home games in Oxford this year. So that's kind of how that happened. But interesting story. Mike Leach came from there. Yeah. The quarterback from Brandon, who's playing in the NFL, which you can help me with right now. I saw him as a backup yesterday. I think he's on the
Gardner Minshew.
I think he's Gardner Minshew, and I'm trying to remember what team I saw.
Chiefs. He's with the Chiefs now. Yeah.
That's right. He was the backup. Yeah, came in and he did a lot. He did a lot of stops in the NFL. But that just shows you what Washington State's done in the past, and they've kind of hit hard times a little bit lately. But I'm sure they'll be a pass-happy team, just like they've always been. But we got a week to get everybody healed, and we've been pretty fortunate. Didn't had any major injuries going into the LSU game, and came out of that game pretty unscathed. So we'll see how long it takes Simmons to get back, and what do you do when he's 100%? Do you pull this guy out? That's going to be interesting.
I was going to ask you that.
Well, I just think that you need to get him some snaps in certain games, maybe certain situations.
No doubt.
Because
no doubt.
You sure don't want to lose him.
Yeah. No, and most people will tell you, well, you can't lose your starting job because of injury, but this guy, I think I read this morning where this is the first time in 50 years in the SEC that a quarterback has thrown for over 300 yards and rushed for more than 50 in 3 straight starts. So a stat that's been around a long time, and he just added to that. But certainly gives us another dimension with his running ability. And but I tell you what I like, he's just so calm. You can just tell he's been in championship games. He's played a lot of snaps. He's 23 years old, and I'd have been a lot better at 23 than I was at 19 or 20 also, Dale. So
yeah, I think we all were.
I didn't get that opportunity, but today's a whole new brand of football.
Well, you're right about that. We've got these older kids playing college football now, and I really don't blame them because they can basically make more money in college now than they can the pros. I think as a rookie in the pros, So some of them may be staying longer. Did you get to see any of the Jackson Dart game yesterday or the highlights?
I did not. We pulled up. We were ready to watch it, and unfortunately, I got to see Philadelphia at Tampa Bay, so I did not. Saw a few highlights, but he obviously had a good start. They beat, I think, an undefeated L.A. Charger team. Yeah. So if you got to see it, you can tell me about it. I did get to see a little bit of his interview after that, and already had those celebrity glasses on. But, he'll be a big hit in New York for sure.
Oh, I think he already is. I think there was hundreds of number 6s in the stands yesterday. I didn't watch the game, but I did watch the press conference after the game and watch some highlights on YouTube. And I mean, he was a typical, he one time or the third one, he got jammed up and he got out of a tackle and made a first down. I mean, he's just a gritty kid. He ran for a touchdown and he threw a little shuttle pass to the tight end, one of those plays where they go up the middle, and they scored on that. So he did really well. I think Wilson got to play just a little bit because he might have, but I don't know that for a fact. I just know Wilson was in there for a little bit, but I do know Dart started and played most of the game. So I think it was a good, but like anything, he's got to clean up a lot. But they were playing a very good team. I mean, really. The Chargers. Yeah, the Chargers have a very good defense. I mean, they really do. And that was the most points that anybody had scored against the Chargers this year. And so,
well,
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, well, as you know, you're playing in the preseason, you don't see the first-string defense. So most of those starters were held out to the season starts, and this is the fourth game, so they're rounded into shape now. So the fact that he was able to pull off the victory and put up that many points, and his best receiver, I think, is out for the year. Got torn ACL, a kid from LSU.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it is going forward. But I'm very proud of him. You know, really tough kid, great kid out of Utah. Was a fantastic college quarterback, and everybody rallied around him. Was a campus favorite, you know, as far as anybody that was an Ole Miss fan. And I hope he does well. I think he will. I think he's that type. The team will gravitate to him and around him, and he'll be a great leader. Probably a lot like Eli was with the Giants, just different generation. But you know, hopefully he has that type of success.
Yeah, and another kid, just to base it on a minute, a former Ole Miss quarterback that's playing in Illinois now, the Altmaier kid, he is really doing good too. Yes. And it seems like they're running a lot of former Ole Miss plays to me, but he's lighting it up there, man. He's got over 300 yards against USC, and so you know, he led them for a winning field goal, and so he's doing so. These Ole Miss quarterbacks that leave the quarterback whisperer, as they say in Kiffin, is they're doing pretty good. So anyway.
Well, if you're a quarterback and you like that system, and I can't imagine you not liking him, you got Lane Kiffin as your head coach, Charlie Weiss is your offensive coordinator. We've got another guy named Joe Judge, who was the head coach of the New York Giants at one time, who's also a quarterback analyst, and he's on the sideline talking to these quarterbacks during the game. Of course, Weiss is up in the press box, and of course Kiffin's on the field. But yeah, Joe Judge is there mentoring those guys during the game and keeping them calm and collective. And so it's a really good combination of three good coaches that mentor the quarterbacks coming in here. So if you're a top-notch quarterback in this country, I can't imagine if you get an offer from Ole Miss, you wouldn't at least take a hard look.
Yeah. You know, you talk about all these people. You know, I was just kind of thinking about Lane's personal lineage and the impact that his father, you know, might have had availing some opportunities to him with some of those coaches like you might just mention. That's a mighty big name in football. Mighty big name.
Well, it is. I got to know Monty pretty well, and of course, dementia, you know, set in his last year. We didn't have quite the conversations we did the first few years, but yeah, really enjoyed speaking with him. He was always on the sideline, and he was an analyst. And I mean, how much knowledge did you get from Monty Kiffin?
Yeah.
He's a legend in the NFL, you know, especially defensively.
Yeah.
And you know, Monty shared a story with me. Joe Burrow's dad, Jimmy Burrow, who was from Amory, Mississippi, played 1 year with us at Ole Miss. He was a walk-on. He was 5'10", about 155, and Billy Kennard wouldn't give him a scholarship, and he had a connection at Nebraska and went out there, and Monty Kiffin was the secondary coach. So we've had all kind of stories and shared that. And Monty didn't know he came through Ole Miss. I said, yeah, he played 1 year with us.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, so we had some great stories. Unfortunately, he died last year.
Yeah.
But, you know, Lane's been very fortunate to have Monty in his life and, you know, kind of help him get through all the ups and downs. And there's always been some downs in his coaching career. But he and his family are all living here in Oxford now, and they really love it here. I think he's in his 6th year, which is 3 years longer than anywhere else he's ever been, and I think he'll be here for quite a while.
Man, it's exciting times. Exciting times to be an Ole Miss Rebel for sure. Listen, Harry, we're about out of time. We appreciate so much what you do and you taking time out and the way you do it and taking time out of your schedule to talk to Dale and I. We really appreciate it. We're going to ask you to hold on just a minute. We're going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors. Can you hold on for us just a second?
Yes, no problem.
All righty. We're going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and Dale and I'll be back with tonight's final segment of the Brouhaha right after this commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's final segment. I tell you what, That's fun talking to old Harry, ain't it?
It is. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Longtime friend.
Yeah. You hear stuff big coming off. He thinks a lot of you, Dale. I don't know why, but
Well, we go back to his high school days, so it's been a long time.
Man, is that what he does? So he's a guy in that position. Is he full time or how does that work?
He's hired for them. He's hired by the university to do that.
Yeah.
Well, not. Yeah, I think it's the university or it's that Davenport Sports Network or something, or Learfield or what they call it. It's changed names for several times, but his job basically is insurance, investing, things like that. But he's got an office there in Oxford.
Okay. Be a good place to have an office with.
Yeah, he was originally from Bay Springs, and I think his dad and them owned a funeral home up there years ago.
He was at Ole Miss when they had the big clock debacle down there, was he not?
Yeah, he was actually playing in that game, and he was a defensive back for Ole Miss, and he still claims that LSU ran a pick against him, which is illegal. And Burt Jones threw that touchdown pass to the fullback coming out of the backfield. And they couldn't get to him because they were being picked, And picks like different from being blocking, So I don't really understand all that. But anyway, they thought they had game won, and they looked up on the clock and said 1 second. It's like I was watching the Cowboys and them last night, and the Love kid from Green Bay throws it. They're in overtime, and it's a 10-minute overtime. And they got so they throw a little pass, and the guy gets tackled in bounds, so there's like 20-something seconds left. Well, by the time Green Bay gets set up again, quarterback gets the ball. He throws the ball with 6 seconds to go, about 20 yards, and the ball goes out, goes over the receiver's head in the end zone, and they got 1 tick left on the clock. So they get to kick a field goal, and they tied the Cowboys in overtime. So it was a 40-40 overtime.
Man.
So, but anyway, I was just amazed at the clocks when they're so precise that guy can hit the button and it be 1 second left, you know, and everything. So it's. That's
been discussed a lot. I want to just go back. There's a play that stuck out in my mind this weekend, and I saw it. Alabama was running, and they put their, I guess the tackle, Cameron. What's that? What's Proctor?
Proctor.
Did you see that?
I did.
Man, I've seen a lot of big guys go out, and use them like piggies and stuff. But now that guy, that was different.
Yeah.
Man, he's 360, and that guy was running down that sideline, knocking folks over like a bulldozer. I don't want to try him at tight end. That was crazy. I didn't know he could run that fast.
Well, the quarterback in an interview after the game, he said, they had practiced it, I think before this game even, and anyway, they decided they were going to run it in this game.
Well, it looked mighty good to me.
So he kept telling Ty Simpson, the quarterback, Proctor did, he kept telling him, give me a good pass.
Give me a good pass.
He said, I promise, I'm going to give you a perfect pass. But you don't need to drop it.
When I throw it to you, you catch it and run that way. Well, listen, folks, on that happy note, we're about out of time. We appreciate y'all joining us tonight. We appreciate Harry Harrison being with us, and we thank our sponsors. But it's time to remind y'all that you can follow us all week on our Facebook page at the Brouhaha, and all of our shows are cataloged for you where you can listen to them on demand on our YouTube channel, which is the Brouhaha. But for now, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, folks. We'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Del McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.